Okay, today I'm going to show you how to program a Ubiquiti Power Beam AC radio using airOS 7. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set your IP address to the 192.168.1 subnet so that you can communicate with the radio. I'm going to give myself a 1.222. Just so I'm in that range. I'm going to go ahead and change my subnet mask to a /24 255.255.255.0. I'm going to hit apply. Now I'm going to go ahead and open my browser. I'm going to go ahead and type in the IP address of the radio, which is 192.168.1.20. Go ahead and hit enter. Now it's going to say this connection is not private, yada yada. Just hit advanced, proceed. And now you'll have to type in the default username and password for the radio, which is UBNT. Select your country, which is United North America in this instance. Click I agree, hit login. And this is a Power Beam 5AC 400, so it's a fairly larger dish. We're going to go ahead and jump over to the System tab first, and we're running the firmware version WA, version 7.2.1. We're going to go ahead and download the latest version of the WA firmware. To do that, you'll just go to Ubiquiti's website, ubnt.com. Go to Downloads. And then it's already selecting AirMax AC. And it was the WA firmware. So see that it says WA there, board firmware 7.2.4. So we'll go ahead and download that. Hit download. There, it's downloaded. So I'm going to jump back over to the radio. Upload firmware. I'm going to tap Browse. Go to Downloads, and it's the WA 7.2.4. Hit Open. It's going to upload it. It says uploaded firmware. Do you want to update? Just go ahead and update. And now the radio is going to go ahead and install its new firmware and update. So this normally takes a couple minutes. While you're waiting for that to upload, you can connect to the Jetpack through your Wi-Fi, and then jump over to IPAM and select the network that you are trying to provision to. For this demonstration, I'm going to show you Button Mesa. So I'm going to click on the Clear Networks Montrose Button Mesa Wireless. Click on that subnet. And then I'm going to scroll down. This first page is always left for tower equipment, so leave these blanks blank. Go ahead and page to the right. Page to the right until you see some openings. Looks like it's open. I'm going to go back a page and just see if there's any spaces. So there's some spaces down here. So I'm going to go ahead and block out this IP for use of this radio. I'm going to go ahead and say plus right here. Now I'm going to say test radio. I'm going to hit save and close and see how it says name test radio. This is the IP that we're going to use, and I'm going to show you where that goes on the radio here in just a second once it finishes upgrading. Okay, so that finished. I'm going to go ahead and log back in. UBNT. Go ahead and jump back to the System tab. Verify that it updated the firmware. That looks correct. WA version 4.2 or 7.2.4. Device name. We're going to make this the client name. We'll use Gloria Bush as an example. We're going to set the time zone here to Mountain Standard Time. We're going to enable the startup date, and we'll select the day of the installation, today. And that is, I need to change the user account for this device. So I'll go ahead and put it in the Clear Network Standard username and password. I'm going to hit change. Then I'm not going to save anything yet. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next tab. Go to Services, and come down here to NTP Client. We want to make sure that all of our logs show the correct time. So go ahead and change this to our NTP server on the network, which is 206.123.208.23. Go ahead and make sure that system logs enabled, and that's really all you want to look at under the Services tab. Go over to Network, change the configuration mode to Advanced. Come down here to the IP address. This right here is where we're going to put in that IP address that we got from IPAM. So let's jump back to IPAM real quick and take a look at that. So it's 192.168.49.56. So we'll come back to here. We'll change this to 192.168.49.56. We'll leave it to a /24, that's fine. And we're going to change our gateway to the gateway for that subnet so that it can get to the air control just fine. We'll go ahead and scroll all the way down to traffic shaping. Go ahead and enable that. And keep scrolling down, go to add. So for your WLAN, this is your upload speed. Go ahead and uncheck ingress. We're going to only rate limit egress. Set that to 5240 if they want 5 megs upload. And then go ahead and add the next one. And see how it's going to see the LAN 0. Go ahead and uncheck ingress again. We're going to specify the egress limit. We're going to go 10 to 40. That's going to give them 10 megabytes of download. Hit OK. See how those two are there under the egress limit. So now we're going to jump over to the wireless tab. And we're in station point-to-point mode. We need to change that to station point-to-multipoint mode because these towers have multiple radios connected to one access point. So it needs to be point-to-multipoint mode. So go ahead and select your antenna type now. Change that to, we never use feed only. Feed only is if the radio is just alone by itself with no dish connected to it. By default, it's going to show up as feed only. Just change that to the dish that's going to show up there. All of these dishes are manufactured, or all of these radios are manufactured for the dish that they come with. So it's only going to give you one option there. Go ahead and hit select here under the SSID, and it's going to run a scan to see what it can see on the 20 megahertz channel width. Okay, so we see a whole slew of access points here. These are all Clear Networks access points because they say CL. When they start with CL, that means it's a Clear Networks access point. So it looks like the Button Mesa ACS is available. See, notice how there, excuse me. Notice how there's no radio button here. That's because the radio mode here, it was already set to point-to-point, not point-to-multipoint. And these radios, these access points, are set to point-to-multipoint mode. So it won't allow you to connect it until we save this configuration. So I'm going to go ahead and save that without making any other changes. So go ahead and save changes. And now it's going to change to the new IP address that we just set. So I need to go in and give my computer an IP address to match that subnet so I can log back into it. So I'll give it 49.222. Hit apply. And then this should redirect us automatically. It didn't redirect us, so we'll have to go ahead and type in the new radio IP address. So 49.56, I believe. Let's jump back to IPAM just to verify. Yep, 56. Go ahead and hit enter, and there it is. Hit advanced, proceed. Now this is going to be the new username and password that we just put in for the Clear Networks onboarding password. Okay, so it brings us to default to the main page, which shows us the CPU memory, the LAN speed, some more isolated capacity details, frequencies, stuff like that. It's actually not connected right now, so we need to go back to wireless. And now that it's in station point to multipoint mode, let's scan again. My radial button still isn't showing up there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just copy and paste this SSID. Well, I know what it is. So take a note of that. So for some reason it won't let me copy it and it won't let me check the radial button. So I'm going to close that. Go to wireless. I'm going to put that SSID in here, and it is case sensitive. So CL-BM-AC -south, I believe, was our best signal. Leave that to auto 2040. That's fine. Come down, actually come across here to wireless security. Change that to WPA2-AES, and go ahead and put that Clear Networks tower password in there. And then go ahead and hit save. And now it should connect to the tower at this point. So I'm going to jump over to the main page and just see if it's going to go ahead and connect here. There it connected. See, now I have an RX signal of -68. That's a decent signal. Here in a minute, all of these readouts will start to populate. You'll see an isolated capacity and what the radio is modulating at. You can check over to throughput and see what throughput's actually going through the radio at any given time. You go ahead and jump back to isolated capacity just until it modulates out and catches up. So see how we just had a local constellation populate here? This shows you the actual electrons that are flying through the air being received and sent by the radio. Local constellation diagram is the radio on this side. Remote constellation diagram is the radio on the tower. So it can show you the noise on the tower and the noise locally. What this is showing you is the packets or the electrons are supposed to be falling within this square. So a clean environment, these dots will be very tightly bound. See how this one is pretty tightly bound around the center? That's a pretty clean environment. And as it modulates up, it adds more squares there for more signal to pass through. And see how it kind of gets a little more noisy as it modulated up. It'll go ahead and find its good modulation rate. It'll always try and modulate up if it can. Okay, so I'm going to jump back up here to the isolated capacity real quick. And it looks like we're modulating at 70 megs transmit, which is our upload, and 83 megs receiving on there, which is our download. And it's going to show our latency as well. Also, you could see here our signal noise to average signal, the ratio. So if you're getting interference and stuff, it's going to be this orange line. If you're getting some interference, you'll see these spikes coming up, getting real close to your signal level. And then of course you have a noise floor. That's just atmospheric noise, kind of the baseline for the area. what you're seeing there. So anyway, we're connected, we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and change my IP address to DHCP on my computer, and the tower should hand me a public address so that I can get out to the internet. So there it did there. And now this is going to say waiting for device. It should kick me out. I'll have to close the browser to log back in, just a security feature. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can browse the internet now. So I'm just going to go to speedtest.net, and there that came up. I'm going to just go ahead and select the Montrose Clear Network server. Click there to test. We're just going to see what kind of speed we're getting. And remember, we did rate limit this radio, so it's going to be pegged out right at where we rate limited it. I can go ahead and show you how to unrate limit it so that we could see what our potential capacity could be if the customer's wanting a higher plan or something like that. Okay, so it gave us a 6 down, 4 up. So I'm going to jump back over to the radio a second. I'm going to refresh it and see if it'll let me back in. No, it won't. So I'm going to go ahead and have to close the browser. Then I'll have to reopen it. I'm going to log back into the radio. So it was 49.56. Enter. And then I'm going to have to type in the Clear Networks password here. Okay, it's connected. I'm going to go to network because we're going to remove the traffic shaping. So go to network. Come all the way down to traffic shaping. And just uncheck the enable radio button there. Hit save. Now it's just going to allow that we use as much capacity as we can get from the access point. Let's jump back to main, make sure we reconnect. Okay, so see it demodulated a bit when it flashed that new config, so it's going to go ahead and take its time. It'll modulate back up, but it'll take a few minutes here. Notice how our noise kind of jumped up there too. Looks like we're getting a little bit of interference. Wait for it to go ahead and modulate. Okay, see it just stepped up there. It went ahead and modulated to 16 QAM. So we'll go ahead and run a speed test again at that modulation rate. Let's see what we're getting through that. So notice how we're getting a little bit better speed, but not much. I'm programming this radio on the ground too. It's not mounted or anything, so whatever we get really. See, our upload's quite improved. Okay. So 9 by 17. I'm going to jump back here, check on the modulation, see what it's doing. Looks like our receiving jumped up there. That's good. Got a kind of a noise spike there. Go ahead and run another speed test now. And remember, this is just the radio not even mounted. This is just laying on the ground, so I'm actually impressed that I'm even getting that much. But anyway, that's it in a nutshell. That is the airOS 7 Power Beam 5 AC 400. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to go to my website and contact me if you have any questions. Just go to the contact button to go to cole.3utilities.com. Thanks. Bye.